My name is Maryann Bruce, and I'm president of Turnberry Advisory Group. It's a consulting servicing firm where we work with boards of directors and executive managers and provide strategic planning and other types of projects and programs. I was president of Evergreen Investment Services, and actually right before this I was president of Aquila Investment Services, and before that I was president of Evergreen. So I spent my whole career in the financial services industry. The financial services industry has lots of different facets. I was involved in brokerage, in asset management, in wealth management, in insurance, and in mutual funds. I graduated from Duke University with a BA in economics, and I minored in art history. And my initial idea was that I would work in advertising because I thought that could combine both my love of art and creativity with business. And when I graduated, I really couldn't find a job in that field. And so since I had an economics degree, a lot of my family's friends and my former classmates suggested I work at a bank or work at a brokerage firm. And so it just so happened that I got my first job at a brokerage firm. I did love it, although in the beginning it was a little hard because my first job, even though I had a college degree, I actually was an administrative assistant, which is a fancy word for being a secretary. And ironically, I couldn't even type. Till this day, I still two-finger type. The primary skills required are some type of knowledge of finance, accounting, economics, some type of business knowledge. But I would also recommend that what really helps you do well is understanding people, and so maybe a psychology background or a sociology background, because most of what you do in the financial services business is selling products and services, and so relationship management is really important, and client management is really important. So the more you know about people and what makes people tick can help you be very successful. The financial services business has changed a lot over the last couple of years, and it's cutthroat. I'm not going to say that it's not, and it's still primarily a male-dominated business. So if you're a female going into this business, I would strongly recommend that you somehow get involved with being tied to revenue or a profit and loss statement, because then you'll most likely be measured based on your results. So I think that's really important if you're thinking about going into this field. In the financial services field, it is lucrative. You have to work really long hours. I know myself that I had to travel 2 to 3 days a week, 48 weeks a year. So I used to tell people it's not, it's very physically grueling. It's not necessarily emotionally grueling or intellectually grueling, but you do get rewarded. There are a lot of compensation benefits from being in the field, but you also have to be careful for burnout. In the future for the financial services industry, there's going to be a lot of consolidation. I still think in this country we have way too many banks and way too many asset management firms and probably too many hedge funds. So there will be some consolidation, and so that means that it's going to be even more competitive than it's been in the past. But again, I believe if you focus on relationships and are willing to work hard and network and drive results and drive some revenue, you can be extremely successful. In terms of ethics in the industry, I do feel that the younger generation is a little bit more focused on creating value and making sure that you deliver on what's important to the client and doing things right for the right reasons. So I do think there is a little bit of a shift, but I don't think it's fair to say that all of Wall Street, is bad. You just can't paint it with the brush. I mean, there are great people in every industry, and there are folks that you don't want in the industry. If people are going into the financial services industry to make a lot of money, I would say that's a true statement. But I would also make sure that they understand that they're going to be working 24/7. One of my favorite sayings when I was younger was that if you were willing to work like nobody would, you could live like nobody could. And so I used to say I might not have been the smartest person, but I knew I could out-hustle anybody. But you can only do that for so long, particularly if you have other objectives like starting a family, having children, etc. Early in my career, I would have probably defined success as the amount of money I made and where I was on the corporate ladder, what my title was. So it was all about title and money. And now I would define success more about family and friends and balance in life and what's important. And part of why I say that is I tried to live my life by following 2 P's. You needed to have a purpose, and you needed to be passionate about what you did, because if you loved what you did, you never worked a day in your life. But it wasn't until a few years ago that I had a life-altering event that I realized I was missing the most important P, and that's perspective. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what your title is, and it doesn't matter how much money you have. What matters is, did you leave an imprint on others? Did you leave a legacy? Were you a good mentor? You know, were you a good mom? Were you a good sister? Were you a good friend, etc.? So that perspective is much more important to me today than it was when I was first starting out.